Welcome to Milestone Moments, the show where we explore the journeys that lead to success. I'm Sheila Slick, your host and founder of 5 Milestones. In every episode, we will bring you insights from the minds of entrepreneurs, leaders, and experts who will share not just their expertise, but the milestone moments that have reshaped their journeys and led to significant achievements. So if you're looking for motivation, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and discover the milestones that mark the path to success. Welcome to another episode of Milestone Moments in Business and Leadership. I'm Sheila Slick, your host, and today my special guest is Peighton Woodard, founder of LunaLeaf, a pioneering femtech startup and proud military spouse. Peighton is dedicated to empowering women, helping them optimize their lives through cycle syncing. Welcome to the show, Peighton.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So, can you share that pivotal moment that inspired you to start LunaLeaf Wellness?
Yes. So I had my own, I'll keep it short, but I had my own spiritual kind of awakening, if you will, in 2020. And I was kind of on that journey for a while. And part of my daily practice was meditation. And it was last September, I was in a meditation and the idea came to me like a lightning bolt. It just struck. I tried to continue with my meditation and I just couldn't because it was almost like a fire had been lit inside of me. And finally I was like, okay, I can't meditate today anymore. I need to go like brain dump this idea that just came to me. And I basically hopped on my computer, stayed on my computer all day, just typing out everything that had kind of come to me for this idea, for this creation. And I basically never stopped since. So it has been a whirlwind 11 months of kind of creating this and allowing it to continue to kind of come through me and be birthed into the world.
Wow, it sounds like passion took over during the meditation. And I think you're supposed to like clear your mind of thoughts. So the fact
that is the intention. Yes. But, sometimes they come anyways. And so that's also part of the practice is allowing them to also still just be there and not fight it. So, yeah, I mean, obviously it was supposed to come to me in that moment when it did. So, yeah, that is how the idea came to me. That was the pivotal moment.
Love it. So how can LunaLeaf help you or me improve your energy, mood, productivity, and relationships?
So I love the relationship one the most. Honestly, I've been married. I'm a military spouse and I've been married for 11 years. And it was probably about 2.5 years ago that I started cycle syncing myself. And that awareness reconnected me to myself and my body and the nuances of where my hormones were high and low and really understanding, I'm not crazy because one day I'm like, I could be the president. And the next I'm like, I can't even scrub the toilet right. So I realized that in itself. And so my relationship with self became so much better. But then I was able to then explain it to my husband and teach him things that he hadn't been taught about a woman's hormonal cycle. We kind of learned together. And he now has a newfound awareness that has really helped our relationship because he's like, okay, like where are you at in your cycle? I can tell him. And then he knows what that kind of means for us and not to take things so personal or not to feel like, he really did mess up majorly. I'm just maybe being a little extra sensitive right now because of where I'm at in my cycle. So it's actually really tremendously helped our relationship. And even my productivity, I batch my content in my follicular and ovulatory phases because that's when I'm going to be most confident, most creative, and most energetic. So I really work on creating a bunch of content in that kind of 10 to 15 day period where I know that I'm going to feel my best. I'm going to create stuff I enjoy. And then when I get to my luteal phase, when I'm nearing my next cycle, I just take that as a time to kind of look at my detail work and maybe reread my captions and edit here and there because I see the detail so much better. And then I allow myself to rest when I'm getting really close to my cycle or when I start my cycle. And I can take the pressure off of having to perform. It's been really beneficial as a founder to cycle sync through this experience because I've been able to give myself grace and not be like hustle, 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 hustle all the time and then ignore my body into burnout.
So, how does the app keep track of the cycle, or give us an overview of how the app works?
Yeah. So the app is a typical period tracker like you would find in other competitors' apps. So you have to log, if your cycle comes early or it comes late, you have to change that in the calendar so it can continue to learn your predictability. But with that, it also breaks down what phase you're in, what day you're on, and actually even the correlation to the moon phases too. Because there is a correlation between a 28-day cycle of the moon and the average 28-day cycle of a woman. So within the app, you are provided, if you have the full feature experience, you are provided daily workouts, meditations, pep talks, and recipes that are very specifically placed in your calendar for that day and phase of your cycle to be the most supportive. So, day one of your cycle, it's going to be a restorative yoga flow versus a high intensity interval workout. And then as your hormones start to build, the workouts will also build with you. And so by the time you're getting to ovulation, you're doing more intense workouts, maybe a 10-minute just total hit workout, or maybe it's just going to be a really intense strength day. And then you'll kind of ride that hormonal wave back down, and so will your workouts. So that's how it really helps you is it tracks you and it provides you with the content of what you need to do that day. It really takes the guesswork out of cycle syncing for you.
So, just out of curiosity, because it works around the menstrual cycle, if someone's already in menopause and they don't have a menstrual cycle, can they still benefit from downloading the app?
So at this point, I would say not yet, but coming soon. I'm 36. I just turned 36 this weekend, and I have noticed that there are signs of perimenopause that I am experiencing, which can be up to 10 years before you actually experience menopause. And through conversations of other women around my age, they're kind of noticing the same symptoms of perimenopause. So I want to bring menopause and perimenopause into the app through a lived experience, whether it's me or I bring someone into the fold of the company that has a true experience of it. I don't want to just rely on some of the, hearsay of the experience because it is very unique and it is very unpredictable. And that's one of the hardest things with trying to put it into a period tracking app is the unpredictability of it. And so really, it takes some research from me and a lived experience from me and others to really figure out the best way to support peri and menopause through the app.
So, building a wellness brand and building an app comes with a lot of unique challenges. Can you describe a significant challenge you've had to overcome and how it contributed to your growth?
Yeah. So, really, I have been my biggest challenge. I barely graduated high school. I don't have a college degree. I was diagnosed with ADD and dyslexia at a very young age. And that was kind of the gray cloud that followed me throughout my entire life of just, well, I don't think the same as other people do, or my brain doesn't work the same way. And really having to get over that was one of the biggest hurdles that I was not expecting to come up against in creating this company, because it took a lot of self-development for me to just push past those limiting beliefs that I had for myself just because I was neurodivergent. And it's actually been, I realized, my superpower because of my ADD, I can shift from wearing this hat to the next hat to the next hat in 10 minutes and be unfazed. So I don't get so stuck in one task. And so it can actually benefit me. Sometimes it doesn't because I can get easily distracted. I have 2 kids also. So they distract me sometimes. But that has probably been the biggest hurdle, and just getting over the fact that I am brand new to this. I had to learn the lingo. I went through an accelerator program, the Founder Institute, and I was asked, what program is my developer using? And I said SQL, and I did not know that it actually is SQL. And so someone side messaged me and was like, hey, just for future reference, it's pronounced sequel. And I'm like, okay, I'm definitely non-technical. So there's just been a lot of learning curves of not having ever done this before, especially in tech, and just going for it. So it's it's layered. It's definitely a lot of different aspects I have learned to grow through.
Well, keep moving forward. You're doing great so far. And you're actually a perfect example of how you don't need education, or at least a lot of business education. You're learning through experience to start your own business.
Yep.
So, what is your next milestone?
Okay, so the next milestone is actually, launch. Launch is hopefully happening by August, September timeframe. We're about to move into beta this week. It's going to be a small group, select group of beta initially, as features are continually being developed. And then hopefully by August timeframe, the app will be ready for the public consumption. So that's probably the biggest milestone that I'm looking forward to. And then I have about 10 more after that of different, phases that I want to come out with the app. I really, my husband says that it's his idea to have the partner app. So just a quick integration app that they can have on their phone that lets them know where their spouse is at that day. And so I'd really like to roll that feature out sooner than later, and really want to dive into, like I said, the perimenopause, menopause features too.
So, you mean so they get notified?
Uh-huh. Oh, so this is how simple he wants it. Keep in mind, he is in the army. He's had conversations with other guys, but he wants it to literally just be red, yellow, and green. And depending on where the woman is at in her cycle, that changes, of course, the red, yellow, or green. And so it would be very easy for them to not mess it up, but also maybe even provide them some suggestions like, hey, she might not be feeling great about her body today because she's in her late luteal phase. Maybe just give her a few extra compliments, or, tell her hair looks nice, whatever it is. Suggestions to help them, and for the men to also understand, or the spouse to understand where their partner is at in their cycle and why they may feel the way they feel.
That sounds great. And you can even probably implement it real quick if you just did it at least through text messaging, right?
Yeah,
So that you can have those messages coming in through their
that's a great idea to start sooner than later. I love that.
Yeah, so they sign up for that alert, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's this is
Yes.
the stage, and then you can build up on that.
Love that.
So if anyone wants to follow your journey,
www.lunaleafwellness.com. And then we're also on Instagram and TikTok. The handle is at lunaleaf.app.
and before we wrap this up, what one key piece of advice do you have for our female listeners to take action today towards integrating wellness into their lives?
I would say, honestly, is take a really good hard look at yourself and how you are standing in your own way. And I think so often we can see little glimmers of like, well, that person's in my way, or I can't do it because of that, or I can't do it because I have kids, or you make up all of these excuses. And when you actually boil the excuses down, you may come to realize that you are actually the excuse, and to get out of your own way, because no one can do it for you. I have to remind this of myself all the time. No one's going to create the success for me that I want to create. I have to do it for myself. And I have to do it despite the fact that my husband goes away and goes training and goes and works for the army at times, and that I am raising 2 kids, sometimes solo parenting. I have to get over that, because that's not going to change. It's still a part of my experience, but I can still create the life that I want if I just get out of my own way. So get out of your own way. Find the routine that works for you. I get up every morning right now. I get up at 5:30. I go for a walk by 6. I call them my dreamy girl walks, and I take the dog and I speak into existence what I'm creating. And so if it is to be on, a recent one was looking a year ahead, I had already been on 100 podcasts is what I was claiming. So, and here I am recording a podcast. So just find what works for you. If it's not meditation, maybe it's walking and just talking out loud like you're talking to your best friend about everything exciting that just happened that you want to happen. But just find what works for you and stick to it and get out of your own way.
I love that advice. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
And thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Milestone Moments in Business and Leadership.